People are really stressed, really worried. Were already stressed and worried before the crisis. Now are thinking the bottom's falling out of their lives, and their home prices are going down. Their 401ks are evaporating. They're losing their jobs. His insight was that we just have to say no to that. That if we just say no, then that will puncture the balloon. That all this talk about hope and change and no red state and blue state is proven to be a mirage, a fantasy.
I will say this, though, because I think it's important. There is a general dissatisfaction on a global basis by citizens in many countries with the inability of governments to respond to felt needs of their people. What I don't want to see is that anger in any country, anywhere, get in the way of sensible judgment.
I understand that Americans are angry and frustrated. We do not need someone in the Oval Office who mirrors and inflames our anger and frustration.
Businessman Donald Trump.
And they come here like it's nothing. They walk through it like it's just nothing. And we're going to stop it, and we're going to build a wall. We're going to We can't have this, though. We don't have a country anymore.
Our country is in serious trouble. We don't have victories anymore. They beat us all the time. They're killing us economically. The U.S. has become a dumping ground for everybody else's problems. But we don't know, because we have no protection and we have no competence. We don't know what's happening. Not since medieval times have people seen what's going on.
You have so many bad things happening. This is like medieval times. We haven't seen anything like this, the carnage all over the world.
We're not respected as a nation anymore. We don't have that level of respect that we need. And if we don't get it back fast, we're just going to go weaker, and just disintegrate.
I'd like to also go back to, though, another question, which is Donald Trump a serious candidate?
Let me say that again. There's plenty of evidence that Mr. Trump is a con man, a fake, and his personal qualities would mean that America would cease to be a shining city on a hill.
We are not going to turn over the conservative movement or the party of Lincoln or Reagan, for example, to someone whose positions are not conservative.
I'm going to tell you what I really think of Donald Trump. This man is a pathological liar. The man is utterly amoral. Morality does not exist for him.
You're a man who knows the universe well. How do you explain the phenomenon of Donald Trump?
I can't. He is a demagogue who seems to appeal to the lowest common denominator.
Look down at the lower right-hand corner and you will see the name Tony Schwartz.
And this is the most important thing about Donald Trump, that he had no conscience. He was sociopathic in the classic sense. Telling a lie did not bother him one bit.
What are you talking about?
Not one word of what he's saying is being printed in that state.
Oh, no, Dave.
Taylor has practically every paper in the state lined up, and he's feeding them doctored up junk.
One man muzzling a whole state?
And how?
Donald, you're not going to be able to insult your way to the presidency. That's not going to happen.
I know more about ISIS than the generals do, believe me.
You still feel like you know more about ISIS than the generals?
Well, they don't know much because they're not winning. That I can tell you.
Leadership is not about attacking people and disparaging people.
With Jeb's attitude, we will never be great again. That I can tell you.
Romney on Trump, quote, the bullying, the greed, the showing off, the misogyny, the absurd third-grade theatrics. He challenged you to answer with substance, not insults. How do you answer Mitt Romney, sir?
Well, look, he was a failed candidate. He should have beaten President Obama very easy. He failed miserably, and it was an embarrassment to everybody, including the Republican Party.
He has really started his political activity based on this racist lie that our first black president was not an American citizen.
Hillary Clinton and her campaign of 2008 started the birther controversy. I finished it.
5 years, you perpetuated a false claim that the nation's first black president was not a natural-born citizen. The birth certificate was produced in 2011. You continued to tell the story and question the president's legitimacy in 2012, 13, 14, 15, as recently as January.
I was the one that got him to produce the birth certificate, and I think I did a good job. I think I did a great job and a great service, not only for the country, but even for the president, in getting him to produce his birth certificate.
Secretary Clinton.
Well, just listen to what you heard.
You see that happening in your body. The other thing is with the terrorists, you have to take out their families. When you get these terrorists, you have to take out their families.
He calls for killing the innocent children and family members of terrorists.
If you are going to kill the families of terrorists, realize that there's something called the Geneva Convention we're going to have to pull out of. It would defy every norm that is America.
I would bring back waterboarding, and I'd bring back a hell of a lot worse than waterboarding.
I don't give a damn what the President of the United States wants to do or anybody else wants to do. We will not waterboard. We will not torture. But my God, what does it say about America if we're going to inflict torture on people? That makes it hard for us to make the argument about the moral superiority of our government and our way of life.
He's not a war hero.
He's a war hero.
He's a war hero.
5.5 years.
He's a war hero because he was captured. I like people that weren't captured, okay? I hate to tell you.
Do you agree with that?
He's a war hero because he was captured, okay?
So sad when she talks about violence at my rallies, and she caused the violence. It's on tape. If you see somebody getting ready to throw a tomato, knock the crap out of them, would you? Seriously. I promise you, I will pay for the legal fees. I promise. I promise. I love the old days. You know what they used to do to guys like that when they were in a place like this? They'd be carried out on a stretcher, folks. Like to punch them in the face, I'll tell you.
North Carolina this week, the world saw a Trump supporter do exactly what Donald Trump had called for, sucker punching a protester as he was being escorted out.
Get him the hell out of here. Get him out of here. Get out. Get him out of here. We'll beat the shit out of them. Anybody attacks us.
Now, you're not going to have a country that can make these kind of rules work if you haven't got men that have learned to tell human rights from a punch in the nose.
There are consequences to these words. There really are. Presidents and presidential candidates cannot just say anything they want. And I did say that at the debate.
But do you support him as the nominee if he's the nominee?
I don't know. Getting harder every day.
Senator, I can tell you without hesitation, being president of this country is entirely about character.
After all, this is an individual who mocked a disabled reporter.
The poor guy, you got to see this guy. Oh, I don't know what I said. I don't remember.
But he also went after a disabled reporter, mocked and mimicked him on national television.
It was that moment when the person asking to sit in the most respected seat in our country imitated a disabled reporter, someone he outranked in privilege, power, and the capacity to fight back. It kind of broke my heart. And this instinct to humiliate, when it's modeled by someone in the public platform, by someone powerful, it filters down into everybody's life because it kind of gives permission for other people to do the same thing.
Lui ha dichiarato che vuole, se eletto, costruire 2500 chilometri di muro lungo la frontiera.
Una persona che pensa soltanto in fare muri, sia dove sia, e non fare ponti, non è cristiano. Questo non è nel Vangelo.
He actually said that maybe I'm not a good Christian or something. It's unbelievable, which is really not a nice thing to say. For a religious leader To question a person's faith is disgraceful. No leader, especially a religious leader, should have the right to question another man's religion or faith.
Now, this judge is of Mexican heritage. I'm building a wall, okay? I'm building a wall.
He's not from Mexico.
In my opinion...
He's from Indiana. You can criticize every decision. What I'm saying is, if you invoke his race as a reason why he can't do his job...
I think that's why he's doing it.
But
I think that's why he's doing it.
If it were a Muslim judge, would you also feel like they wouldn't be able to treat you fairly because of that policy of yours?
It's possible, yes. Yeah, that would be possible, absolutely.
Isn't there sort of a tradition, though, in America that we don't judge people by who their parents were, where they came from?
I'm not talking about tradition. I'm talking about common sense, okay?
If you are saying he can't do his job because of his race, is that not the definition of racism?
No, I don't think so at all.
Claiming a person can't do their job because of their race is sort of like the textbook definition of a racist comment. I think that should be absolutely disavowed. It's absolutely unacceptable. I'm not going to defend these kinds of comments because they're indefensible.
Are you racist?
I am the least racist person that you have ever met. I'm a person who happens to be very smart, and I happen to have a certain street sense, and I know where things are going.
Do you think Donald Trump is racist?
I do.
You do?
And I'll tell you why. It's tough to say that somebody is not racist when they're doing all the racist things.
Donald J. Trump is calling for a total and complete shutdown of Muslims entering the United States. When Mexico sends its people, they're not sending their best. They're bringing drugs, they're bringing crime, they're rapists, and some, I assume, are good people.
Human life don't mean as much to them as it does to us. Look, they're lushing it up and fighting all the time, and if somebody gets killed, so somebody gets killed, they don't care. Oh, sure, there's some good things about them, too. Look, I'm the first one to say that. I've known a couple who were okay, but that's the exception, you know what I mean?
The evil assumption that all Negroes lie, all Negroes are basically immoral beings, all Negro men are not to be trusted around our women. An assumption that one associates with minds of their caliber, and which is in itself, gentlemen, a lie, which I do not need to point out to you.
I could stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody, and I wouldn't lose any voters, okay? It's like incredible.
Look at those hands. Are they small hands? And he referred to my hands. If they're small, something else must be small. I guarantee you there's no problem. I guarantee it.
Come on.
I thought it was fine. She's a pretty woman.
You're running for president of the United States.
Excuse me. I didn't start it.
Okay, I didn't start it. But, sir, with all due respect, that's the argument of a 5-year-old.
I didn't start it. No, it's not the...
Yeah,
no, it's
the argument of a 5-year-old is he started
You would say that. That's the problem with our country.
Every parent knows a kid who says he started
Excuse me. No.
These pleasing attentions proceed from the impulse of the moment, or are they the result of previous study?
I always wish to give them as unstudied an air as possible.
Oh, believe me, no one would suspect your manners to be rehearsed.
Don't worry about that, baby. I love babies, though. I love babies. I hear that baby crying. I like it. What a baby. Actually, I was only kidding. You can get the baby out of here. I think she really believed me that I love having a baby crying while I'm speaking. That's okay. People don't understand. That's okay.
And I bet you still haven't changed the diaper.
I have not.
I love that about it.
But Donald, you're a builder. You don't change. Yeah, you don't change.
What's this? Builds buildings. I don't change diapers. I build.
That's right.
Donald, what's the scenario where you would actually change a diaper?
I guess the baby is screaming.
Yeah.
Like crazily for days.
For days,
okay? A big build-up.
Yeah.
For days, and Melania was someplace where I couldn't find her for weeks.
See, that's what we love about Donald Trump. He's just a very honest guy.
Yeah. I would create a TV show for you where all you did was just judge women.
Now, that may be the best idea of all. I would say I'm the all-time judge.
She's perfect.
How do the breasts look?
The breasts are okay.
Okay, well, that's important.
And you're going to have more kids.
I think so, yeah.
Really?
I believe it. Yeah, sure. I
What
would.
do you need that headache for?
Because I like kids. I mean, I won't do anything to take care of them. I'll supply the funds, and
Right.
she'll take care of the kids, right?
And then
So
what-
it's not
what
like
does
a
that
big
mean,
deal.
though?
You know, it's not like I'm going to be walking the kids down Central Park. I mean, I tend to like beautiful women more than unattractive women. I don't know. Maybe that makes me bad.
And let's face it, you have a lot of girlfriends, true?
I like a lot of people.
So you treat women with respect.
I can't say that either.
All right, good, all right.
You said that women like being treated badly.
Yes. So the more they think you're desirable, the more they will go for you.
There's something to that. It's sick, isn't it? It's hard to compare the ones that, as you say, you didn't have.
Right.
Let's see, Kim Alley, I don't know.
Take her
Stephanie,
down.
I know, but I never had.
Right.
Et cetera, et cetera. I think that putting a wife to work is a very dangerous thing.
Well, you now are married to a woman, and you who would like to continue her career. Marla says she does want to have a career.
There's a difference between having a career and working for me. I don't want to sound too much like a chauvinist, but when I come home and dinner's not ready, I go through the roof, okay?
They say a woman's place is in the home, and I suppose as long as she's in the home, she might as well be in the kitchen.
Well, Beaver, today girls can be doctors and lawyers, too, you know. They're just as ambitious as boys are.
I don't think Ivanka would do that inside the magazine, although she does have a very nice figure. I've said that if Ivanka weren't my daughter, perhaps I'd be dating her. You know?
Stop it! Oh, it's so weird. Stop. You know what? You are sick.
I know,
Yeah.
isn't it terrible?
Yeah.
My
She
daughter,
is.
Ivanka.
Yeah.
She's 6 feet tall. She's got the best body.
Yeah, she's hot.
What's the favorite thing you have in common with your father?
Either real estate or golf.
Donald, with your daughter?
Well, I was going to say sex, but I can't relate that.
You've called women you don't like fat pigs, dogs, slobs, and disgusting animals. Your Twitter account has
Only Rosie
several-
O'Donnell.
No, it wasn't. For the record, it was well beyond Rosie O'Donnell.
Yes, I'm sure it was.
You once told a contestant on Celebrity Apprentice it would be a pretty picture to see her on her knees.
I think the big problem this country has is being politically correct.
You know, you could see there was blood coming out of her eyes, blood coming out of her wherever.
When Fiorina appeared on the TV, Trump blurted, "Look at that face. Would anyone vote for that? Can you imagine that, the face of our next president? I mean, she's a woman, and I'm not supposed to say bad things, but really, folks, come on. Are we serious?"
If you can't handle some of the basic stuff that's become a problem in the workforce today, like, you don't belong in the workforce.
Yeah.
Like, you should go, maybe teach kindergarten. I think it's a respectable, position.
I moved on her, actually. You know, she was down in Palm Beach. I moved on her, and I failed. I'll admit it.
Whoa.
I did try and fuck her. She was married. I moved on her like a bitch, but I couldn't get there, and she was married. Then all of a sudden, I see her. She's now got the big phony tits. You know, I'm automatically attracted to beautiful. I just start kissing them. It's like a magnet. You just kiss. I don't even wait. And when you're a star, they let you do it. You can do anything.
Whatever you want.
Grab them by the pussy. You can do anything.
Every single Republican is going to have to answer the question, what did you do the day you saw the tape of this man boasting about grabbing a woman's period?
Okay. All right. We'll
Will you please stop saying that word? My daughter is listening.
Yeah,
and
you
we're
know what,
telling her to
Scotty?
stop saying
You know
it.
what,
He said it,
Scotty?
but at least
Don't tell me
we're
you're
leaving it
offended when I say but you're not offended when Donald Trump says it.
Exactly.
I'm not running for president, he is.
You describe kissing women without consent, grabbing their genitals. That is sexual assault. You brag that you have sexually assaulted women. Do you understand that?
No, I didn't say that at all. I don't think you understood what was said. I have great respect for women. Nobody has more respect for women than I do. But I have tremendous respect for women.
So, Mr.
and
Trump,
we should get on to much more important things and much bigger things. Nobody has more respect for women than I do. Nobody. Nobody has more respect.
Please, everybody.
Tonight, a growing list of women are accusing Donald Trump of inappropriate conduct, including sexual assault.
I was at a club, and I was talking to them, and next thing I know, there's a hand up my skirt.
He then asked me to sit next to him. I complied. He then grabbed my shoulder and began kissing me again very aggressively and placed his hand on my breast.
When you looked at that horrible woman last night, you said, I don't think so. I don't think so. Believe me, she would not be my first choice, that I can tell you. Man. Take a look. You take a look. Look at her words. You tell me what you think. I don't think so. I don't think so.
This was a powerful individual speaking freely and openly about sexually predatory behavior, using language so obscene that many of us were worried about our children hearing it when we turn on the TV.
Now imagine your children and your grandchildren acting the way he does. Would you welcome that?
It is cruel. It's frightening. And the truth is, it hurts. It hurts. This is not normal. This is not politics as usual.
Michelle? Michelle LaVaughn Robinson, girl of the South Side. You took on a role you didn't ask for, and you made it your own, with grace and with grit and with style and good humor. You made the White House a place that belongs to everybody. And the new generation sets its sights higher because it has you as a role model. For the past 25 years, you have not only been my wife and mother of my children, you have been my best friend.
Disrespect invites disrespect. Violence incites violence. When the powerful use their position to bully others, we all lose.
If Putin likes Donald Trump, guess what, folks? That's called an asset, not a liability.
Do you have a relationship with Vladimir Putin, a conversational relationship, or anything that you feel you have sway or influence over his government?
I do have a relationship, and I can tell you that he's very interested in what we're doing here today. He's done an amazing job. He's put himself really as, you know, a lot of people would say he's put himself at the forefront of the world as a leader. Putin has done an amazing job of showing certain leadership that our people have not been able to match.
I never met Putin. I don't know who Putin is. He said one nice thing about me. He said I'm a genius. I don't know Putin. He said nice things about me. If we got along well, that would be good. Putin. He said Donald Trump is a genius, and he's the real leader over in that country. I said, I'm not disavowing that he called me a genius. Are you crazy? Don't worry, I can't be seduced. Putin, from everything I see, has no respect for this person.
Well, that's because he'd rather have a puppet as president of the United States.
No puppet.
And it's pretty clear.
You're the puppet.
It's pretty clear you won't admit that the Russians have engaged in cyber attacks against the United States of America, that you encouraged espionage against our people.
America is not natural. Natural is tribal. We're fighting against thousands of years of human behavior and history to create something that no one's ever. That's what's exceptional about America.
Doesn't matter where you're from or your religion, you jump right into the great American melting pot. Great American melting pot.
It seemed like a pretty good idea. Getting boys from all over the country, boys of all nationalities and ways of living. Getting them together. Let them find out what makes different people tick the way they do. Because I wouldn't give you 2 cents for all your fancy rules if behind them they didn't have a little bit of plain, ordinary, everyday kindness. And a little looking out for the other fella, too. Just get up off the ground. That's all I ask. Get up there with that lady that's up on top of this Capitol dome. That lady that stands for liberty. Take a look at this country through her eyes if you really want to see something. And you won't just see scenery. You'll see the whole parade of what man's carved out for himself after centuries of fighting. And fighting for something better than just jungle law. Fighting so he can stand on his own 2 feet, free and decent, like he was created. No matter what his race, color, or creed. That's what you see. There's no place out there for graft, or greed, or lies, or compromise with human liberties. And that if that's what the grown-ups have done with this world that was given to them, then we better get those boys' camps started fast and see what the kids can do. And it's not too late. Because this country is bigger than the Taylors, or you, or me, or anything else. Because of just one plain, simple rule. Love thy neighbor. And in this world today full of hatred, a man who knows that one rule has a great trust. And you know that you fight for the lost causes harder than for any others.
شو اسمك عمو؟ وين ابوك؟ وين؟ وين مات؟ شنو متريقة متغدية متعشية؟ احكي
ناس أبرياء تموت بدون أي ذنب، أطفال.
وقت اعتقلوا لبابا
قلبي من جوا محروق، بيحترق عليهم كلياتهم.
I want to say thank you for my sponsor because he's giving an air in Canada, and thank you for and Huda, and thank you for giving me Syria for Anwar and give me in here in Canada. Thank you very much.
Ils ont les pistolets, ils peuvent nous tirer dessus parce qu'ils sont très très méchants, papa.
C'est pas grave, ils ont des pistolets, nous on a des fleurs.
C'est pour protéger. Et les bougies aussi, c'est pour nous protéger les fleurs et les bougies.
Oui. Ça va mieux du coup?
Oui, ça va mieux.
It's like in the great stories, Mr. Frugal. The ones that really mattered.
Blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy.
You know that rule, Mr. Payne. And I loved you for it just as my father did.
In our courts, all men are created equal.
While I live, let me have a country. A free country.
It is a self-evident truth that things which are equal to the same thing are equal to each other.
Those were the stories that stayed with you, that meant something, even if you were too small to understand why.
Help will always be given at Hogwarts, Harry, to those who ask for it.
Because they were holding on to something. What are we holding on to, Sam?
Take a lesson from the dead. If we don't come together right now on this hollow ground, we too will be destroyed.
There's some good in this world, Mr. Frugal. And it's worth fighting for.
Is this all real? Or is it just happening inside my head?
Of course it's happening inside your head, Harry. Why should that mean that it's not real?
Where the hatred comes from and why we will have to determine. We're going to have to figure it out. We have to figure it out. We can't live like this. It's going to get worse and worse. You're going to have more World Trade Centers. It's going to get worse and worse, folks.
So it's not one thing. This is a pattern of divisiveness, of a very dark and in many ways dangerous vision of our country. It really does come down to what kind of country we are going to have.
This is the very brand of anger that has led other nations into the abyss. His imagination must not be married to real power.
We just got new metrics in. Donald J. Trump is the president of the United States elect.
We are more divided than ever as a nation. I think it's because we overdosed, especially this year. We drank too much of the poison. You take a little bit of it so you can hate the other side. And it tastes kind of good. And you like how it feels. And there's a gentle high to the condemnation, right? And you know you're right, right? You know you're right.
I guess this is just another lost cause, Mr. Payne.
The war's over. We'll enter that sweet period where everyone agrees not to repeat the recent horrors. Of course, we're fickle, stupid beings with poor memories and a great gift for self-destruction. Although, who knows? Maybe this time we'll learn.
And most of all, I want to emphasize to you, Mr. President-elect, that we now are going to want to do everything we can to help you succeed, because if you succeed, then the country succeeds. Please.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, everybody. We are not going to be taking any questions.
There's a danger here. These people are dangerous. They're wild. Listen to me. Listen to me.
I have. Now sit down and don't open your mouth again.